So, after watching the live last night with Brian and James, the two that are accused of trafficking with Stefan Stearns by this guy, David Solomon, now he claims that they're all Hollywood writers. This is all part of Hollywood, because this is insinuating like Epstein Island type bullshit here. But if you haven't seen my last video, go watch it. And I've done quite a few on these two guys, and their stories are just not adding up at all. And in their video, they pretty much say exactly how they do it. They start contacting the kids through this social media, talking about books, and they start talking about really inappropriate things, right? So I got a question for James. Like, James is 21, his wife is 20, and they're taking custody of a kid that they believe is 17. Like, that wouldn't raise red flags for you. Like, your wife is making a friendly connection with some other guy that's just a couple years younger than her, and they're like talking privately about private stuff. Maybe it was like a planned thing. Maybe they wanted to talk about him about private stuff. And they talk about how they think the kid is sick, and they're basically like taking advantage of a kid that they think is sick and a mom who has cancer. And then they're like, well, and their stories are so inconsistent. Like, they were so afraid of the dad that they ran away, but yet where they ran to, the family there, they know the family because they know the brother, Cody. And based on this missing child, Cody, that they know, who's actually David Solomon's brother, so they know they're like, oh, he knew the family from them. And that's supposedly totally, like, unrelated. How did they meet Cody? That's what I want to know. How did your family meet Cody? That they know so much about this Cody boy, who they say looks exactly like David. Well, yeah, he looks alike. They're stepbrothers. So this is actually David's father's other child. So they're related through David's father. And they were like, well, the family says that the dad's not the abusive one. It's actually the mom who's abusive. So they think the mom is abusive. And they're all saying they think the mom is abusive. Even Brian says the mom isn't feeding the child, and we think he's so neglected he could die because he's not getting the right food. But yet they continue the same diet after they take him. None of their story is adding up. And if you guys haven't watched this stuff, you gotta watch it. I mean, I've been posting the videos and like highlighting all the things that they're saying, but Jiminy Cricket, they just leaving receipts everywhere.
Warned us not to take him in. His youth pastor suspected that his mother was abusing him, malnutrition, and tried to get selective services involved.
Yes.
And because of that, Solomon and his mother were accusing him of being a part of a cult, that the entire church was out to get them, and they were satanic worshipers. And so that's the picture that Solomon painted. And we weren't sure what to believe it at the time, but we felt it really didn't affect us too much.
So in one breath, he's saying that this guy, David, they were just so trusting and so gullible that they trusted every word he said because they had no reason not to believe him. But then in the other breath, they're saying, well, this other pastor did warn us, which means you had reason not to believe him. Fucking people lying. I hate liars. They just can't keep their story fucking straight.
My child and I, we were newly married. We were young. We were 20, 21 years old. We had a couple of young children. And Shiloh met him on Facebook, chatting in a Brian Davis's group. They were fellow fans of his fantasy series. Mm-hmm.
So he's like all innocent, like, oh, we met him through this chat. Oh, really? Then how does your friend know his stepbrother, Cody? How did they meet him? Because I really want to know.
Not well taken care of, obviously.
Right.
That's a sad thing. Did he ever mention any siblings ever to either of you?
Not to me. Yes, with Shiloh. But again, this is not something that I can prove. Mm-hmm. But during their conversations, at one point he admitted to being a boy named Cody.
Yeah.
And there was a missing persons case. Someone named Cody Wallace Bast. Mm-hmm. The timeline, the age, the hair color, eye color, a lot of it matched. Even photos of him then and Solomon now, mm-hmm. There were a lot of similarities in their noses, their eyes. So Shyla did talk to him about it, and one of the things that Solomon admitted was, that he had siblings.
That's interesting. I wonder where they are. I wonder what. So if he's got siblings, why wouldn't his mother bring them along with? That's very interesting. Unless it's a situation where she's chosen him and abandoned the others.
I can't confirm any of this, but apparently the story as it goes is like he had 5 siblings. Let's see. Shiloh's side of the family, who are familiar with Cody because of a friend of the family, a coworker, and they are aware of that family, that situation with the siblings. And according to them, the story is that the father is a nice guy, and that the mom was the abusive one, and the mom took Solomon to Cody.
Wait a minute. Didn't he say he didn't even know if the dad was even real when he supposedly was running in 3 days when David convinced him he had to uproot his entire family and move cross country to the border because he was so scared of the dad? I thought he didn't even know if the dad existed at one point. This story ain't fucking adding up. And where the fuck is Cody? Where the fuck are the 5 other siblings? Did he take them too? Mom ain't here to speak up for her other missing kids.
Living in Medford.
How did it end, I guess, is a good way to... I'm going to see what he says. I haven't got to that point. I want to see what he says later.
He stayed with us in Grants Pass for about 3 days. And during that time, which he would tell stories of his father living in Medford, next town over, and how his father had attempted to kill him and his mother time and time again, physical abuse. So he was just deathly afraid of this figure, this imaginary father that we had no idea if he was real or not. But that created an environment of paranoia in my home. My children were afraid. My wife was afraid. Any knock on the door, like the pizza man, the mailman, was seen as danger. And it got to the point where my wife encouraged me to quit my job and take the kids and up and leave and move to flee the city, to go up north. I thought that was obviously a little extreme, and I wasn't sure of the validity of his claims about this father of his.
So they take him up to Canada, they change his name, they get new documents for him, and they're wondering why he's chasing him around. He wants his name back. They stole his personal information. He wants it back. And he wants justice, and he doesn't want other kids hurt. He's trying to expose them, and it's working.
And then at one point, they tried to do paperwork to make sure that that the transition from guardianship to guardian was legal. And then we discovered that he was indeed not a minor, but he was actually 19 years old.
Sounds to me like they didn't quite get what they bargained for.
David's mother, and obviously the top 2 photos on are David. But the child that was reported missing is Cody, and allegedly he was taken from his foster home by his mother, Jennifer. And so I've looked and looked. I can't find a whole lot about this. I didn't put this together, but I'll zoom in here. And if you want to take a look at the photos, they do look awfully the same.
'Cause they're brothers. This story is just whack. And then James caught in the same lie as Jen. We, oh wait, I wasn't there.
And I wasn't sure of the validity of his claims about this father of his. What ended up happening was we went to visit my wife's sister, who lived in Seattle, the Seattle, Washington area. So we drove up there, and they stayed up there for the remainder of the duration. And then I didn't go with them. I stayed home working.
Oh, convenient, isn't it? We. Then a convenient I. Those damn pronouns, always getting people in trouble. Is that why they want to change pronouns? I think that's why the big pronoun fucking thing. People always getting themselves caught.